Imagine standing on a paradise beach in the Caribbean, white sand between your toes, turquoise water stretching out endlessly. But behind this tropical beauty lies one of humanity's greatest archaeological mysteries. Who were the very first people to set foot on this land? Where did they come from? And above all, what happened to them? For decades, this enigma has puzzled scientists. But today, thanks to a spectacular technological revolution, we are on the verge of unlocking this ancient secret. Ancient DNA has just revealed a stunning truth that will turn everything we thought we knew about Caribbean history upside down. Unlike the rest of the Americas, which were populated tens of thousands of years ago, the Caribbean remained deserted for an eternity. The first traces of human life date back only 8,000 years, making this archipelago one of the last frontiers conquered by our species. But beware, because this conquest did not happen all at once. Archaeologists have identified two distinct waves of migration. First came the archaic peoples, true nomads of the seas who arrived 8,000 years ago. These masters of navigation knew nothing of agriculture or pottery. They lived exclusively from fishing and gathering, carving their tools from stone and shells. Imagine these hunter-gatherers sailing between the islands in their canoes, perfectly mastering the currents and coral reefs. Then, 2,800 years ago, a radical change took place. A new civilization arrived, the ceramic peoples. They brought with them pottery, agriculture, and a sedentary lifestyle that would forever change the face of the Caribbean. But here's where the story gets really fascinating. For years, scientists have faced a major obstacle. The tropical climate of the Caribbean ruthlessly destroys ancient DNA. The sweltering heat and constant humidity break down DNA strands faster than anywhere else on Earth. That's where a team of visionary researchers from the Max Planck Institute and the University of Copenhagen came in. They developed a revolutionary technique called hybridization capture. Imagine microscopic molecular harpoons designed to catch specific fragments of DNA amid the genetic chaos. These scientists analyzed the remains of 93 individuals from 16 archaeological sites across the Caribbean: Cuba, Puerto Rico, the Bahamas, Guadeloupe, and St. Lucia. These people lived between 3,200 and 400 years ago. And that's where the first explosive revelation comes in. An individual from Cuba, nicknamed CI0009, had DNA remarkably similar to that of indigenous populations who lived on the islands of California 5,000 years ago. You heard right, California. This discovery suggests a revolutionary hypothesis. Some of the first inhabitants of the Caribbean may have sailed from North America, crossing the Gulf of Mexico thanks to the Gulf Stream, the powerful ocean current that connects North America to the northern Caribbean islands. To test this theory, researchers used principal component analysis, a kind of genetic GPS that classifies individuals according to their DNA similarities. The results are striking. The archaic peoples of Cuba form a distinct group, completely separate from modern Native American populations. They represent an ancient branch of human migration, probably predating the diversification of the ancestors of the peoples of Central and South America. But the story doesn't end there. Analysis of ceramic peoples reveals a completely different origin. 41 individuals from Cuba, the Bahamas, Puerto Rico, Guadeloupe, and St. Lucia, who lived between 1,500 and 400 BCE, have DNA closely related to contemporary South American indigenous groups, including the Paipoco and Arawak-speaking peoples living in Colombia. The data confirm a stepping stone migration pattern. These new arrivals gradually moved northward through the Lesser Antilles, islands such as Barbados and St. Lucia, before reaching Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, and Cuba. Now, here is perhaps the most intriguing discovery of all. When these two populations met in the Caribbean, what happened? In most human migrations, groups mix genetically through marriage. But here, the study reveals something extraordinary: virtually no genetic mixing. Only one individual, PDI0009 from Puerto Rico, shows 13% archaic ancestry. This means that these two civilizations coexisted for centuries without mixing, perhaps occupying different parts of the islands or maintaining strict cultural barriers. Analysis of mitochondrial DNA and the Y chromosome reveals fascinating genetic signatures. The archaic individuals mainly carried haplogroups D1 and C1d, genetic markers associated with the earliest populations of the Americas, particularly in North and Central America. In contrast, the ceramic individuals had haplogroups B2, C1b, and C1c, typical of indigenous populations of South America, particularly those of the Amazon. These groundbreaking discoveries completely redefine our understanding of Caribbean history. Instead of a simple linear progression, we are discovering an archipelago shaped by at least 3 distinct waves of migration: a possible migration from North America, multiple migrations from South America to Cuba, and finally the arrival of the ceramic peoples. But many questions remain. Why did these populations remain so genetically distinct? How did they organize their territories? What were their cultural and economic interactions? The mystery of the ancient Caribbean is only half solved, and each answer raises new and exciting questions. This research reminds us that human history is far more complex and surprising than we imagined. The Caribbean, far from being a simple tropical paradise, is a unique laboratory for understanding human migration, cultural adaptation, and the coexistence of distinct civilizations.